willing, more than willing, to work to find common ground.
Right now on News 8 at 6, historic vote. What could be next for state workers in Illinois with no solution in sight on new contract negotiations?
You know, being able to teach your children that weapons aren't toys, like, you know, a Nerf gun you see in the store. Like, there's a big difference in teaching them, you know, that this is a real thing and it has real consequences.
A parent's choice. What's behind a new proposal allowing younger children to learn handguns?
Live from WQAD, News 8 at 6 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Johnnie Jindrich in for Jim Mertens tonight.
And I'm Denise Sinitka. Thank you for joining us this evening. For the first time in Illinois history, more than 30,000 state workers are ready to go on strike in Illinois.
It's the latest shot fired in the ongoing contract battle between the state's biggest union and Governor Bruce Rauner. In our top story at 6 tonight, News 8's Chris Miner explains what's holding up negotiations.
The signs have been there.
Rauner wants to put us down.
Informational pickets and 2 years of back and forth between state workers and the governor over a contract. Today, the union announcing its members have okayed a strike, a move the governor calls wrong.
I really believe the right answer is not to have a strike. The right answer is to implement together on a cooperative basis the contract.
The union today says 81% of its 38,000 members voted in favor of a strike, which it says will happen if no other path forward can be found.
The governor has been trying to force his extreme terms on state employees. Our members are not willing to accept that. We're willing, more than willing, to work to find common ground.
The governor and the union are at odds over health care costs and what percentage taxpayers should subsidize. They disagree on overtime rules, merit pay, and privatization.
We say fight back!
The union says workers authorized a strike because they feel under attack. The governor calls it an attack on taxpayers and those who rely on critical state services.
We've been at impasse for a long time. Every day that goes by that we're not implementing our contract is well over $2 million of extra cost to taxpayers.
Chris Miner, WQAD News 8.
Thank you, Chris. The union offered no timetable. In the event of a strike, Illinois correctional officers would remain on the job.
For a second time this week, Iowa U.S. Senator Charles Grassley is up against an angry crowd.
We the people are your employers. We the people are your boss. And rural America is mad as heck that you aren't listening to us.
Senator Grassley held a town hall at the Floyd County Courthouse in Charles City today. One woman urging him to rethink one of Donald Trump's campaign promises to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act.
So please, 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 don't repeal it. For my sake, for my kids' sake, my husband's sake. He has a high risk of colon cancer too. So he has to go in for a colonoscopy every single year. His father died of colon cancer. If we don't have that, he could end up getting cancer. And he could die, and I'd be a widow.
Senator Grassley faced another rowdy crowd earlier this week during an event in Iowa Falls.
On the other side of the aisle, Congressman Dave Loebsack with the public today to discuss issues facing young people. It was a civil crowd at the Freight House today in Davenport. In response to rowdy town halls across the country, Loebsack says he's faced similar criticism back in 2009 over enacting Obamacare.
I think that they should go and be civil, and we should have a good debate, you know, but not an uncivil debate. I don't like all the yelling and all that. That happened to me in 2009. It wasn't good.
Loebsack hosted Eric Swalwell at today's Future Forum. The California congressman is part of a group of young members of Congress. They want to bridge the gap between Congress and young Americans. A gloomy and rainy day out there today, but temperatures remain still above normal.
Yeah, we're just a little depressed after the week we've had. James Zahara's in the Weather Center for us tonight. Hey, James.
Depressed? You're spoiled. We were all spoiled. Maybe. Just Yeah, we're all depressed because it's gloomy out there. We got the rain out there still going on, scattered about our area of eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. We've seen about less than 1/10 of an inch of rain and likely see a little bit more of that as we head overnight into early tomorrow morning. Compliments of that area of low pressure there, folks, that will maybe even squeeze out a thunderstorm or two in some of our hometowns as well. It's also, as you can see, helping to shake those clouds out in the form of some snow going on from the plain states and kind of making its way into southern Minnesota. And eventually we'll not only see some of this rain overnight, but we'll eventually see some of that snow in our forecast as well. And it was a cool one out there, but as Johnny mentioned, yeah, it's still well above the norm. Normally we're around 39 degrees, and we're certainly well above that in most of our hometowns. 48 degrees in the Quad Cities after a high of just 50 degrees. A pretty good breeze out there out of the east at 22 miles an hour, and that wind's going to be really picking up as we get ready to end our work week. Of course, that wind's going to send down some pretty cold air as we head into the weekend, and of course some of that snow to go with it as well. I'll tell you how much snow we could potentially be seeing in our viewing area coming up in just a few minutes. Denise?
Thank you, James. A new proposal in Iowa would bring some major changes to current gun laws in the state.
News 8's Elizabeth Wattis joins us live in Bettendorf to explain how the law could affect kids younger than 14.
Johnny, right now I'm standing in the front of a classroom. They're not teaching math or reading. They're teaching guns, real guns, handguns, practicing with fake ones like this one. In the new law, you could see even more students in classrooms like this. Right now in Iowa, you have to be 14 years old to learn how to use a handgun. The new law would take that age requirement away with parental supervision. It would also create a stand your ground law, allowing people more freedom to defend themselves if they feel threatened.
What this bill would do would apply that to areas outside of your home and to the public areas, things like that. This is a big bill in just the scope of the number of different topics that it covers, and there are some pretty weighty issues there.
Adding even more to the scope of that bill would have to do with concealed carry permits. Right now in Iowa, you have to get those renewed every 5 years. With the new law, those would be good for life. For now, reporting live in Bettendorf, Elizabeth Wattis, WQAD News 8.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Well, people are defending the arts as the local community college looks to make cuts. Last month, Black Hawk College announced it would cut 17 full-time positions, 8 of them teachers. Tonight, the Board of Trustees will vote on whether or not to cut those teacher positions. The college blames the lack of state funding from the state and low enrollment, forcing them to look at new ways to save money. Black Hawk usually receives about $8 million from Illinois, but over the last 2 years, it's only gotten a third of that. More than 2,000 University of Iowa students are losing scholarship money for next year. The university says it will save about $4 million by eliminating some academic scholarships. The University of Iowa president blames lawmakers for cutting funding by $8 million in the middle of the fiscal year.
A 34-year-old man has failed to report back to his work-release residential facility in Burlington. Eric Schaefer was admitted a month ago. The Department of Corrections says he was supposed to return after work last night, but never did. Police later found Schaefer's GPS unit, which was taken off. He was convicted of willful injury, going armed with intent, and escape of a felon in Des Moines County. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please contact police.
Police say that a woman threw a beer can, hitting a store manager in the face. LaSonia Brown was arrested last night at a Hy-Vee store in Des Moines. Police say she tried to steal alcohol from the store when a loss prevention and product manager tried to confront the woman. Police say she then hit that manager in the face with a beer can, also kicking him. The total amount that Brown tried to steal was only $6.77.
An Iowa State University football player is off the team and behind bars tonight. 22-year-old Michael Johnson was arrested early this morning in Ames. He's charged with domestic assault, strangulation with injury. Police say Johnson choked his girlfriend during a fight, leaving her with bruises on her face and her neck. Johnson is suspended from the Cyclone football team. The man accused of killing 2 Des Moines area police officers last year is seeking a protective order while behind bars. Scott Green remains locked up at the Polk County Jail. The motion filed doesn't say from whom Green is seeking protection. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the shooting deaths of Urbandale officer Justin Martin and Des Moines Sergeant Tony Beminio. Still ahead on News 8 at 6, a Google Doodle.
How a Bettendorf student has caught the eye of the internet giant for a second time.
And signs of spring, how Modern Woodman Park is getting ready for opening day just more than a month away.
You're watching WQAD News 8 at 6 with Jim Mertens and Denise Anitka.